Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are joining us from. And as you are joining us, even if it's some of you were here bright and early, really appreciate you. We're just going to bring you up here in a second. And if you're joining us while the training is in progress, feel free to let us know where you're from. And don't be shy, share your feedback in comments. And like Robert say here, guys, smash that like button and let us know if we're doing well. And if we're doing well and you like what we share, just hit that like button, and then that's going to be shared within more people within that community that we have here at GVO. So just as we begin here, Tammy, let's recognize, let's see here. Marvin, welcome. Great to see you here. We have Mary Paul from Ottawa. Welcome, Mary Paul. Always bright and early. Really appreciate that. Welcome. We have Fortune here. I'm just going to call you by the name that I see here. We have Matt Shiloblubster from South Africa. Welcome. Sorry for my pronunciation. MC, welcome from Texas. We have Mr. Raleigh. Great to see you from St. Lucia. And Yunam, welcome from Accra. I know you have an event in Accra, Ghana going on very soon. Joel and Eve are going to be there. I believe it's next weekend. We look forward to hear all about it. This is wonderful, folks. Ghana are having a live event right now. This is really, really cool. Very exciting. That's a first. And again, we're expanding worldwide. Welcome. We have Bruce here. Great to see you here. Robert, thank you for the wonderful feedback. Let's see. We have Jacob. Great to see you here from Accra. We have Hangut. Great to see you from Panama. Welcome. We have here Shan Branangan. Sorry about this. Welcome. And we have BC01316 from North Carolina. Welcome. So Tammy, let's hear from what's the purpose of our call here this morning?
Yeah, it's really to understand the fundamentals in building your business, because every success story is based on fundamentals and actions. It's that simple. And so if you have, you're new and you're just launching your business and you want to grow it, you want to scale your business, you definitely need the fundamentals. Those of you who have been in a while or have been in the industry for a long time, you know that it's always got to get back to the basics, the simple basics. And if you follow fundamentals, that's when you're going to grow your business.
I totally agree, Tammy, and thank you for that. So, folks, the very first thing I want to talk about here is, what is GotBackup really? See, what we're going to be covering here is there are a few options, a few things that we're going to cover. One is, what is GotBackup? We'll cover that in a minute. And I know that sounds like an obvious question, but there's a purpose for me asking you this. The simple promotion strategy, we'll talk about that. Duplication-friendly step, we'll talk about that. The social media basic that works. And in fact, Joel just sent an email this morning on the in our Facebook group, the GVO Facebook group. And I highly recommend that you go check it out. I will post that link here as we get to that point. So you guys check this out, because what's coming right now, it's really, really hot to help you utilize a social media platform, even though you're not comfortable being in front of a camera. It's really, really cool. How to share your opportunity professionally. That's what we want to talk about. There we go. For some reason, my share screen just disappeared for whatever. I know Joel was having this issue here, and I'm hoping that this is not going to continue. So, okay. So, and then how to share the opportunity professionally, and positioning yourself as a leader, even though you're just starting out. There's ways that you can take advantage of that. So let's start with the question. Tammy and I will cover that, and feel free to share your feedback. So for you, as you're chatting here, what is GotBackup really? What is it in your words? So feel free to share this in a comment. So Tammy, maybe you want to start with that a bit.
Yeah, and it's all about the product, right? It's about bringing value to the marketplace, because there's such a demand out there for our data storage. We all know that. And people are storing data more than ever. And knowing that, that's why you want to get yourself out there. And the fact that cloud storage is a 90 billion global market, and you want a piece of that. And people are looking for value. That's what's happening in today's market. People are so sick and tired of putting money out and not getting anything in return. And of course, people don't want to lose their stuff, right? There's nothing worse than having to remove stuff or losing it. And that's definitely something you want to bring to people's attention when you're connecting with them, and tell stories about it when you are connecting with them, because that's what we're all about. We're all about data storage. We're all about bringing value. We're all about timing in the marketplace. We're all about, a cheaper product than anything else out there. And people are looking.
So looking at GotBackup, and why are we asking you to do this? Because maybe some of you have never really taken a minute to think about it, right? You're just kind of sending your link and tell them to take advantage of a 6 terabytes for the price of 2. But the thing is, you have to kind of convey your message in a way that will attract attention, but also will build interest. And the fact is, I like what Hangutips mentioned here. GBU is a peace of mind. Joel, when he does a lot of his posts, he talks about an insurance policy. And that's what kind of Tammy was referring to. So GotBackup is an insurance policy. And most people don't think twice about the danger of losing all their precious moments that is in this device, right? They simply make use of them, not realizing the costs of losing the device. So the fact is, GotBackup is a peace of mind. I love this approach. But also, what is GotBackup? Well, GotBackup it's a venture that everyone needs, that will get where you get compensated for communicating with others. In other words, the price is very good, number one. Number two, you get 3 times the space that the competitors are offering. And there's so much more to it than that, by the way, because when you get GotBackup, you're not just getting the space, you're getting a complete business. Now, of course, if you came as a customer, you'll have access to the tools. But for $20 a year, folks, a year, you get another avenue to create another stream of income. So GotBackup is way more than just a backup storage. It's a way to fuel your income. This is what it is. So how are you communicating your message when you tell people about what we have here? So what we want you to do, and again, you can choose to do it or not, but I suggest that you work on what we call an elevator message. In other words, in an elevator, you can't turn around and speak for 5 minutes about a topic. Usually you'll have 10 seconds, 15 seconds, it could be a little more than that, but I would certainly find a way to condense your message by saying more. But let me rephrase that: by meaning more and saying less. And this is the key. This is where you may actually have a better return into your investment in time, like social media. Like we'll come back to that a little bit later, but I don't recommend to talk about the product. You may want to talk about the lifestyle. And if you're not in that particular lifestyle yet, you can talk about the lifestyle that you've seen that some people are benefiting from. And we'll come back to that point. But my question to you is, what is GotBackup really? So you think about the product. It's clear what it provides. You think about the value. Not just the value of a product, but the value monetary. See, people are looking for ways to earn an income. Here we go. It just disappeared. I'm going to bring it back again. We'll have to do this the entire training. It's just the way things are, I guess.
And if we're in person, we're just kind of we're going back and forth and throwing things out there based on things that we do when we're out and about. If you see somebody, if you're standing beside somebody, could be an elevator, could be in a lineup at the grocery store, just getting that attention to connect with them is that eye connection, right? That body language, and connect with them. And especially when people are on phones, because they're always on phones, right? And just say, hey, quick question. Now you got their attention. They're looking at you. and just say something like, do you back up your phone? Of course, people back up their phones, right? And that's when you start going into conversation. Ask them what they use to back up their devices, and let them know that you found something that is really interesting, and you are now getting 6 terabytes of data storage that you can share with your family for $10 a month. And ask them if they're open to receive a link. You got nothing to lose, you guys.
I totally agree.
You got nothing to lose. If you're texting, you want to send out something curiosity wise, you need to see this. That's going to capture somebody's attention.
So I like what Chris is talking about here. It's an ecosystem that has everything a person needs to promote the business opportunity. Now, this is a really good approach. Why am I telling you this? Well, because when you look at the Pro package, we have here the cloud storage, which is the GotBackup, which you have all the tools over here that's related with the GotBackup. We have the testimonial generator. We have the memory place. We have the Sharpen, which is the autoresponder. We have here the YouTube version, which is VTuber, where you can upload all your videos. You have the lead capture that will interact with all of the capture pages. Capture pages is just a little website that is done for you that you can promote your business and capture name and emails, and you can interact with that. And this is the custom funnel builder. So this is exactly what it is. It's an ecosystem with everything you need to promote your business. So as we are sharing this information here today, take note of that. Take note of that. And then go to ChatGPT, take some of the things that we share and just simply ask it, hey, listen, what would you recommend as different approaches? And they may come up with some great ideas that you can relate to and some you may not relate to. But the thing here, folks, is what is GotBackup and how do you communicate the message to someone else to build the interests? This is a good question you can ask ChatGPT to respond to. So Tammy was getting into the simple promotion strategy. Well, this is exactly what it is. I find that when you communicate the message in a logical, common sense, which is a practical aspect of how you would use the product, this again is a way to promote the opportunity, the product itself, in a simple way. And like Joel talks often about, he goes into a lot of different aspects. I've been following a lot of his posts, and I really like the insurance policy. Have you ever thought of an insurance policy for all your precious data and moments that you've captured with your phone? Like, think about asking a question like this and think of the response from the recipient. And it's a perfect conversation opener. That's what we mean by how to attract leads without being salesy. So if you talk about, for example, and Tammy, I'm going to start this very soon, as a matter of fact. We're going to Florida in about a month and a week from now, in about 5 weeks. And we stay there for 5 months out of the year. And what we plan to do is to document that. So we're going to document a departure from Toronto, excuse me. It's because we go to Ottawa often. It's about 4 hours away from Toronto. So we're going to document our departure. And as we arrive at Florida, we'll document our arrival. I'm just giving you an example of what we plan to do. Now, you may have other ideas. You may not have a place in a different location. I'm just giving you a scenario on how we tend to adapt this to our lifestyle. And of course, we live basically 5 minutes from the beach. So for those of you that might have seen us before, you might have seen some of our posts in the past. Often we happen to be on the beach. Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be documenting. We're going to be sharing with the world the lifestyle that we have been able to live by. I don't know if that's properly worded, but I think you know what I'm talking about here, what I mean. And from there, and the question is, how do we get to live this life? This is what people are thinking. How can I get that also? These are the kind of question you may want to ask yourself. I'm giving you an example that may not be necessarily an example for you. It's just an example on how we process things from our end. And then that's what you post and you document it. And the key that's very important, and we'll talk about that when we go to social media basics and how it works, is the frequency and the consistency. If there's one thing, if you know Tammy and I, we are consistent as heck in our presentation schedules, in our training schedules. We are always present. We are always there. And this is the reason why we tend to have results in some of the things that we do, because we are consistently doing them. That people show up or not, it's entirely up to them, but we show up. It's the same thing when you start posting. People will recognize you. People are creature of habits. When they see something repeated, then they tend to focus more on whatever they see that is being repeated. That's why ad campaigns, when I remember when in the 80s, when I used to do some classified ads. I don't know if you guys remember that. It used to be a big thing in the past. And I remember when I was placing my ads, it would take a month or two, sometimes 3 months before people start calling. Why did they start calling 3 months later? Because the ad kept repeating and people got used to say, oh, let me check that. Oh, okay, let me give it a call. This is the same logic when it comes to posting. It's the creature of habit. That is the key. That is the key for you to start getting people coming to you. It's not posting one time and thinking that, oh, people don't like when I'm posting. No, I'm serious. It's the regular process of doing that. We'll come back to that in a minute. Just lost my page again.
So the key, you guys, is create curiosity, simple value, bring value to the marketplace, which is super simple for us. That's why I said simple, because we have such huge value with GotBackup, right? Emotion and logic, have that combination, even in your storytelling, and solutions. The solutions to real problems that are out there. Those who are doing this regularly on social media, if you look at Joel, what he's doing with his live videos, yeah, he's capturing tons of people wanting more information. So having that combination is really, really, really important. And you use that whether you're in person, whether you're texting back and forth, whether you're on social media, and yeah.
I totally agree. And I see, and I'm just repeating in consistency, folks. That is the key. This is the reason why Tammy and I had a lot of success in what we do. We are consistently repeating the process. Sometimes it's lonely, and sometimes there's a wonderful audience, but we always show up. Mm-hmm. So the next thing we want to talk about here, and sharing my screen, I apologize for this, folks. I don't know. I have no control about why it's doing that. So the next thing that's very important here is I brought in a compensation plan here because this particular aspect here, this model right here, okay, the 4 benchmark, this is how you duplicate. So the next thing is, how do you create a duplication-friendly step? This is the reason why we have these 4 benchmark. Now you can see here, copper. What is it, copper? 1% on your left, 1% on your right. Okay. If you happen to be facing me, it's reverse. You know what I'm talking about. And the fact is, you want to repeat that. Why? Because you need to have a total of 2 on the left, 2 on the right, all the way up to black diamond. That's why we get you to start the right way immediately. Okay. And then from there, what we're saying is, okay, you need to build a user enrollment tree. So you need to basically have sponsored 10 people. Why do we say 10 people? Because 10 people is the qualification that goes all the way up to emerald. You don't need to be 10 when you get to the earlier stages, but we're preparing you for the ending in mind. I'm sure you heard the expression. That's what this is all about. Okay. And at 25, we're not saying you need to sponsor 25 people. We need to have 25 people in your business, but you need to sponsor 10. And if this is duplicated by everybody repeating step 1 and step number 2, you will, reach a 25. Now, to be more specific on what you see on a regular basis is our presentation. A presentation is a simpler representation of that. So we're talking, Tammy explained that often, is we sign up the person. Okay. We sign up and then we register 2 people and we register 2 more. And then we duplicate. So we simplified it, which is a reflection from this logic over here. Sign up 2 and sign up 2 more. and repeat the process. This is the reason why we have that. And this is by design. So when you are showing up for our presentation and you see this slide, if it's repeated often enough, the person may not understand the comp plan, and they may never understand the comp plan. And there's folks that just don't want really to spend a lot of time understanding this, but they will understand that. One on the left, one on the right, repeat the process and teach that to others. If that occurs, by default, you will move up the rank, the ladder of success, which opens up the compensation plan like a flower that blooms with all the wonderful benefits that are offered to you. That's why it's part of the presentation. So if you are presenting this opportunity in whatever language, whatever time, whatever country, make sure that in the process of your presentation, the person says, how am I going to get there? How am I? Trust me, it's in the back of their mind. And you're telling them what you need to do without needing to understand the whole engine of how the motor function. Anything you want to add to this, Tammy?
Simplicity, that's the key. The more simple you keep things, the more successful you become. Chris and I, when we started this industry, we probably complicated everything all the time at the beginning. And that's part of the learning process. But then when we realize that the simpler you keep it, and if you can have get 2 people, because the industry average is 2. So if we can teach people to do 2, then once they do 2, their confidence will help them to want to get 2 more, right? So if you give too much up front, like, we teach in the past, go make your list of 100 people. Most people will not do it. But if you can get them to talk to 5 people in a day, or 5 people in a week, or whatever, then those small, simple steps are what's going to get people to grow.
So I'm just posting the link here in reference to Connection Machine. This is the PowerPoint. Okay. Now you can't modify that PowerPoint, but you can make a copy and you can choose to change what it is you want to change it to reflect whatever market that you are representing. Okay. So this is it there. So thanks for asking the question. So here's the answer right there. So see, folks, you need to understand why did Tammy and I have been so successful in this business is because we've always delivered the message and convey it in a way that is very absorbable, that people can actually understand what this is, and they understand the steps. If you try to get them to understand all this stuff over here, some will get it, but many will not. Or they just don't have the patience to it. But they will understand that. You understand here, folks? Okay? And the other thing that's also very important that you need to really understand, this package here, and that's a recent update that Joel has just kind of recently updated for your own benefits. It's $499.97 one time for year 1. That includes the $199 and the $20. And you have access to everything, folks. And you, the upline, received $200. $200.
Powerful.
This is huge. But not just you, but your upline gets 50 and his upline gets 50, or hers. You understand? This is really, really generous. And if someone maybe, depending on the market you're in, it might be a little bit aggressive because we're dealing with US dollars. Well, look over here. Tammy and I reached a blue diamond just with this package over here. So don't think that you need to be here, but we recommend it because it's a one-stop shop. Like Chris mentioned earlier, it's an ecosystem. In fact, I would say almost everything daily that's in there. Mm-hmm. The memory place is not daily, but it's definitely something that we use when we do our events. And it's also the testimonial generator I don't use every day, but it's a link that I created. It's part of our branding website, where if we ask someone to do a testimonial, we tell them to click there, boom, it's done whenever they choose to. You see, we make use of this stuff every single day. But don't undermine the fact that even though this is inexpensive, it has a beautiful entry. The difference here is you pay your $20 a year, okay? and then you pay your $99.97, which we recommend a yearly package. One, you save 2 months, and two, you don't need to. The credit card is not ding every single month. It's once a year, so it's a no-brainer. And to be honest, most auto ship for every companies that Tammy and I have ever been part of, which we certainly respect and really admire, it's around that amount or double monthly. Folks, this is yearly. I mean, there's a place to nickel and dime. That's not it. Okay. So this is absolutely amazing here. Okay. So and just so you understand that next year, when you're dealing with this one, it's $20 and you're $199. Okay. So you spend, or you can spend $19.97 a month. It's up to you, but we prefer the $199 simply because it covers the entire year. And again, the next time the payment goes through, it's the following year. Okay. So I noticed that some of you here took advantage of this link. I recommend that you save this and just start presenting, folks. Become an active contributor of your own business. Don't just depend on others, but depending on others in some case, like the Wednesday presentation, folks. This is a great presentation. It's a company presentation. You can take advantage of that from people who've been presenting this for a long time and they know their way around, and it can help you. In fact, you can learn from them. And as you start hearing the information that is provided in a presentation, you understand that there are small segments you can utilize for your own elevator speech on how to present what GotBackup is to someone. So even if you don't have a guest, I highly recommend that you show up at a presentation so you learn the verbiage and that you learn the process. This is what we talk about fundamentals. We're telling you what Tammy and I have done in our early stages. I remember I've never missed a presentation in the 80s and 90s and 2000, early 2000 when we started, when we didn't make any money, we kept showing up. And I remember the person I was mentoring, Tammy and I, telling this person, God, I wish I can speak like you. He says, the time will come. And whole and behold, the time came, and we've made millions in this industry. Folks, it's not hard to make millions when you've been in this business for 28 years. My point here is it's cumulative, but the fact here is if you understand the process and you duplicate, and that's the whole point, is the duplication factor. That's what we're talking about. That's why we're telling you all of these things. Learn to duplicate the message. If you don't know how, show up to the events. Anything you want to add this, Tammy?
No, you're absolutely right. It's to show up. And if you're showing up, you're showing your team members that it's important. If you're not showing up, then don't expect anybody in your team to show up. You got to show up. You got to be that leader and lead by example. And when you're on the presentation, don't just, because it's easy, you guys. The fact that, you can just hop on YouTube, nobody sees you, you can go and do something else and come back. Stay and learn so that you can present. That's the whole purpose for you as a member. That's the whole purpose, is so that you can learn to present. Your guests are evaluating an opportunity, but you're learning so that you can present. And the more you learn how to present when you're out there connecting with people, everything comes natural because you're doing the slides. You know what to say. You know how to connect easily. So you got to do this, you guys. The more people are doing this in GotBackup, the more successful your teams are going to become, and the more successful the company is going to become. And we all know if the company makes more money goes back into the field.
Now, I brought in Joe's comment here, folks, because this is absolutely correct. The prospect has two questions in mind. Can I make money with this? What do I have to do? And can I do it? That's the reason when you're presenting this, you want to make this very, very simple and duplicatable. People are busy as heck. The world today is evolving and changing, and a lot of people are trying to figure they're trying to figure things out. And when you present something new to them, it's like one more thing added on to their already overwhelmed schedule. That's what's going on. And often, especially today, especially North Americans, I can tell you that that's how it is. So it has to be simple. It has to be affordable. and it has to be doable. That's why the presentation is in that way. Okay. And the entry, don't be afraid of the $500, folks. This is really, really inexpensive. As a matter of fact, I have paid for services that are available in this pro package that cost me that every year. Just one out of all the different 6 different options that are here. And some are way more than that, especially email marketing. Very expensive today. Super expensive when you start passing the 2,000 and the 3,000. You get into the 5,000 members. And some of you may not be there yet, but I'm telling you that some of us are, and it's costing $50, $80 a month in some cases. Do you understand what I'm saying? And GotBackup, the limit is quite high for the price that you're paying here. Absolutely amazing. So you have to bring value for people to see. So this is all part of duplication and friendly steps. Okay. Now I want to move into the other point I want to cover here. Let's see. We were here. This is the link that was provided. I'd made a copy. I'm going to copy this. And for you to have access to this link, you have to be a member of the GotBackup Facebook group. So for example, let me go right there. Okay. So you have to be a member here. Okay. So you have to, oops. Okay. Okay. So you have to make sure, let me just reduce this a bit. There we go. So you have to make sure that you are subscribed to this. So the subscribe button that occurs, you click on that. You don't see mine because I'm already in. And then you can see. And this particular video, I highly recommend for you to copy it. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. I'm going to copy this link right now. And I'm going to post it again for a second time. Okay. So it's there twice. And I recommend you watch this. Why am I? Because this is an introductory to the next point that we want to cover here is social media basics that works. Joel, that was posted by Eve. It's a reposted by Eve. And this is a video that Joel did that explains what is going on with all the work that he's been doing in a system that's coming to be that you'll have access to as a pro member. Again, very cool. Then you will be able to select all the different videos, and he's explaining here that you can use your own image. And I don't know the details right now, folks, but this is crazy. Again, going back to the ecosystem, this is what we're building here. So it's wonderful to sponsor someone in GotBackup, but the person you sponsored, are they even aware of what is available to them? Do they know what's available to them? That's why we're talking about this training this morning. Tammy and I were just saying, okay, what should we talk about this Saturday? Well, let's talk about the fundamentals to help you have the proper basic ingredients for you to apply on a daily basis to get your results. So generally, we talked about it earlier. I'm just going to just put that aside for a minute. Is we talked about what to post, how often, and how to create curiosity. Well, these 3 comments, these 3 questions here are actually handled within the system that's coming out. But don't wait for the system, folks. Understand what we told you. Like I was saying earlier that Tammy and I intend to document our trip from Toronto to Florida, and while we're in Florida, we'll continue, and the posts are going to come in. But the thing is, if you choose to post once a week, be consistent by posting once a week. Don't just forget the entire month nothing went on, and then because trust me, I'm guilty of that big time. I'm from a generation where posting on a daily basis, it's not my thing, but I'm adjusting. For example, Tammy had a podcast. Every Saturday, 10 a.m., it is broadcast. It is sent out every single week. We've been doing that for years. And the fact here, yeah, go. Oh, sorry, Tammy, did you want to add something to this?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. So the fact here is it's the consistency. And what's interesting when I see the email that I sent out, you know what, there's many training we talked about. I told you how many clicks. In one case, I send my email to our audience, and there was something like over 3,000 open, and I think there was something like over almost 2,000 clicks. In some cases, it's 200 clicks or 400 clicks. It depends on the subject. So what that tells me also is what you post. Sometimes it may go viral. You don't even know. And sometimes nobody cares. That's why you want to be consistently posting with a variety of topics and a variety of subjects. And when you find something that works, where people tend to gravitate towards what it is that you posted, that's kind of a strong indicator that that's where you need to focus your attention on this kind of topic within that environment of delivering that message, because that's what people want to hear. And that's exactly what Joel talks about when he was showing when he's showing this particular video. I recommend you click on it and you listen to this, because that's what's coming. If you can't click on it, it's because you are not a member of this group yet, because it is a private member for GotBackup members only. So you have to register. Okay. Anything else, Tammy? And again, that's a social media.
Yeah, I'm sharing some stuff in the post that you guys can just copy and paste, and just make sure that you have a good combination of what to post with your lifestyle. If you don't have the lifestyle, you're saying, oh my gosh, it's easy for you guys because you guys worked all these years to create the lifestyle we have. Yes, you're right. So we can use that. But there's some things that you can use in your lifestyle. If you went from full-time job to part-time, or use something that has worked for you, because everybody's going to relate to you. There's somebody that's going to relate to you. Not everybody, but there's going to be people that are going to relate to your story. So don't think that people are not going to be interested in you, because they will. And I think that holds so many people back, is they think, oh, I'm not so interesting. But there's people out there like you that are scrolling and they're looking at stuff, right? So you want to share the fact that you have more freedom, you have more time with your family. Share stuff with your family, because you have this part-time hustle that is bringing in money globally. You can say globally because we're in 162 countries. I make money while I sleep. That would catch my attention, because I love sleeping and I want to make money while I sleep, right? So you got to say things that's going to capture curiosity. So people are like, oh, what are they up to? And then you say, if you want to know what I'm up to, that's allowed me to blah, 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 just put interested in the comment, and you're going to get interested. And if you don't get it right away, keep doing that, you guys. If you're watching Joel, I know Chris and I are watching Joel, and we're watching his techniques, and we're getting excited, and we're wanting to do this, because honestly, Chris and I, like Chris said, we're not in that generation. You get comfortable at home, but you got to get out of your comfort zone and get out there and start doing these things. So I gave you some ideas: lifestyle curiosity, simple teasers, like you could hold up your phone and say, I have access to everything on this device, no matter where I'm at. You can even show your GotBackup app. And if you want to see how I was able to do that and get 6 terabytes of data storage for $10, just put whatever in the comment. I want, or whatever, So just go out there and do it. And
yes. And sometimes, folks, you'll have response. Sometimes you won't. If you don't get any response or any views, don't be so alarmed. What's very important is algorithm has changed. And I've learned that from Joel, and also by reading some feedback on social media today. In the past, it was based on your followers. If you had 1 million followers, 100 followers, 10 followers, 100 followers, it would basically, these are the people that will be exposed to what you're seeing. But today has changed. It's not based on your followers. I'm sure it's still there, But the real important aspect is the content. Are people interested in your content? And if one day you're talking about you're taking a picture of your meal, and next thing you know, you're talking about lifestyle, and next thing you know, you're talking about a trip fishing. Next thing, the algorithm is all confused. What is this person trying to tell? What are they covering? What are they saying? And because they don't know what's going on, they don't know what niche to send you into. So that's the reason why Joel says at one point, it was on his trainings, he was saying, create a fan page. You don't know how? Go to YouTube or ask ChatGPT, how do I create a fan page? And it will be very explicit in details on what to do. My point is, once you got to your fan page, then you start, even if there's no followers. I just created one, by the way, which has no followers at the moment, and I'm about to get started. My point in saying here is, if your content has value and it's consistent, when by value is, that's what we talked about, is bring some sellable points that make sense to general public. And you'll find that out as you keep trying and as you keep listening. And as a matter of fact, to that note, that's where I brought you here, is if you go to the playlist, there are many examples of presentations that's been taking place. For example, here's Sunday presentation within the African community. We have here, let's see here, the Wednesday night webinars, and there's others in different languages. And listen to those presentations. Learn from the verbiage that's being utilized when the presentation is conducted. This is how you will learn how to present and what to say. If you never show up anywhere to anything, well, of course, you're going to be a little clueless on what to cover, because you're not aware of what to say. Attend those events. Attend those presentations. Pick up some of the things. There's moments where I feel I just did a stroke of genius, and sometimes, oh my God, I was dull. So there's some presentations that are going to be better than others. So don't just look at one and make a decision on one person. Just look at them. Show up to the live presentation and pick up on the things we say, because I'm telling you, there's sometimes we cover some points that I'm telling you, I know really attracts attention. And maybe for you, that's what's going to fuel your ideas. Again, you can massage that into ChatGPT, come up with some kind of response, and make sure you humanize it. Don't be too robotic. And if you read a script today, you can use like, what's that app, Tammy, that you use? A CapCut, right? CapCut, if you have the pro version, you can actually have your script right here on your phone as you're talking. And if you repeat it about 10 times, 15 times, 20 times, that 15-second message, it becomes natural as you, even though the script is on your phone, you can read it and it's recording you. And then you can turn around and post that into your social media. I'm just giving you some little tidbits here on some of the things that are available today. Even there's some that you can work on your face and make things a bit more cool. Anyway, so the point here is learn from what's been conducted now so you can develop the verbiage. That's how you share an opportunity professionally. Just listen to the ones that have reached the levels of diamonds and above. And maybe some of them that are lower pin levels, they might just get started and it will end up a diamond. But pick up on what they say. Why are they diamonds, double diamond, triple diamonds, blue diamonds, and so forth? What do they say that get people to sign up? Listen to their presentations. That's how you revolve. And the more comfortable you are with the content, go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah, follow Joel, because you're going to learn a ton just following him, listening to his videos, getting some creative ideas. Follow him, and you're going to start growing your business. You're going to get, people responding in your comments. It might take a little bit. If you've never done a live video, you can do a recorded video and post it to get more comfortable. It's all about, getting that practice and getting out there and doing it and being consistent. I put there how many times, at least 1 to 2 posts per day. Don't have to be all video. You could put posts, adding the value, curiosity, all that stuff. And just the key is consistency, because I know when I'm consistent, the one thing that I learned from Joel recently is I like different things. So I was kind of posting different things just create that attraction, see if people are like me and stuff like that. I love fitness. I love health. And I'm realizing that the algorithm is not putting anybody towards me because it's like Chris said, they're confused. It's like, oh, aha moment, right? So now the key is to focus on one thing and just get really good at it and create curiosity. No companies, don't talk about a company, just get people to you so that you can send them a link after. Okay.
Yeah. To that note, talking to Joel, he was mentioning to me, because I was asking him some questions on the results that he's getting. He says, what I found is when I'm too narrow, where I'm getting right into, for example, GotBackup, or too specific, I don't have as much attraction. And if I'm more generic in a sense of the lifestyle, the income revenue generating ventures that are out there. And again, don't take my word for it. Just go to his Instagram or TikTok, and he's every day. I see a post from Joel every single day, and I know that he's using his tool that he's testing, and that's the reason why it's taking a bit of time, because he's trying to make sure. I believe he's looking to have about over 100 different options for you to choose from that you can choose to post in a rotation during the week. So you can do once a day, twice a day, or 3 times a day. But I know there might be some rules with Facebook. If everybody posts the same thing at the same time, there might be some things coming up. So there's a lot of stuff that he's figuring out, folks. It's not as simple as 1, 2, 3. There's other things that he needs to keep in mind as before this gets delivered. But all of this, because remember, social media is designed to have your content, your ideas. People want to know about you, and not just to repeat it from someone else. But you can start that way, okay? And then evolve. And I'm telling you, folks, people are really interested on the way you live your life. I'm telling you, it's just how humans are. We're always curious to see how people are living and how do they deal with all of this. And be careful by being too try to use topics that are not going to cause. You don't want to go politics. You don't want to go religion. Because again, people listening are from all different topics, all different religions, all different cultures, so you want to use your common sense on all of these things. And I know I'm a bit generic here. I'm just trying to give you some guidelines and being, now, if you're looking to have a specific niche on a particular topic and that's your area, then yeah, sure, whatever. If it's in a religion aspect or if it's a politics aspect, expect that's what you're going to get. That's the people are going to follow you. So the fact is, Tammy and I are like, we have our environment on the Chris and Tammy, and it's always been lifestyle. I mean, and I often talk about it in our presentations until when Tammy and I were employees. Now, Tammy was always a business owner. She had her own swimwear designing. She knew she would look at some lady and she knew how to make it look like $1 million. And she would design a pattern. That's her gift. That's what she did. In my case, I was a software engineer. I was more of a robot working for a corporation. I worked for Coral System. I worked for the government of Canada. I worked for whatever. The point here is that I was an employee. And when I was doing that, and Tammy was a self-employed, remember that the money you earn is always based on the hours that you deliver, and then someone gives you a paycheck, or there's only so many hours you can work to get a salary. But when you deal with the industry of network marketing, if you understand the duplication process where you can do the work yourself, but if you're always the person that does it all, you may wonder, why is my team not growing? Because you do it all. You're always the one-stop shop. Nobody has space because you know everything. Trust me, I'm guilty of these things.
As a business owner coming from that, because some of you here might own your own business and have employees. I had 11 employees, and your employees are never going to work as hard as you, ever. They're always going to do what they have to do, but they'll never go beyond unless you create some type of an incentive, which is what I did. That's why my employees loved me. And so they would all really work hard to make that happen. So they got their bonuses. So it's knowing your environment but the one thing that the downfalls to all of this is often, I'm the one that would open the store and close the store. I did have a manager, but when people don't show up, you got to show up, right? Where this industry, which I fell in love with years and years and years ago, is we're all independent, but we're also interdependent, because we work together to help each other. And the more you help each other, the more people grow in the industry. So it's not about being a boss and employee. It's about, whoever puts the efforts is going to grow their business. And if you help your people grow, then, they have the opportunity to also be at the level you're at, or even more. And that's a celebration, right?
Yeah. So in moving forward here, folks, what's important to understand in light of what Tammy's sharing, what I was sharing, and what this whole topic was of today, is the fundamentals are very important. Understand what you have in your hands. What is GotBackup? What is really GotBackup to you? Now, I know, Joe, you're asking me what is my pitch elevator, or Tammy. I don't necessarily talk about GotBackup. What I will talk about is the lifestyle. I have a lifestyle that I know everybody says, you're going to Florida for 5 months? How can you do that? That's my starting point.
Yeah. So we talk about the weather, especially now, right?
Yeah.
It's getting cold.
It's getting cold over here.
We go, oh my gosh, it's freezing today. And then they respond. And then
I look forward to our trip to Florida. Really. I mean, this is how I start. I like to put people in a position where they have to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key, is provide, not just tell, but interact with them. So when you share information, you want to post it so it turns into a question for them to say, well, how do you do that? And at one point, often when someone asks me, well, what do you guys do? Well, I happen to be providing cloud storage for the price of 2 terabytes for 6. Really? Why is that? Let me text you a link and check it out. If there's an interest, just put your name and email there and I'll get back to you. That's it. That's it. Now that's face to face. On social media, share, and that's what we're talking about here. You want to share something of interest, where in our case is the fact that we lived in Florida 5 months out of the year. We've been doing that since 2013. That's our thing. You may have something else. If not, figure something out. Figure something out to be able to get the person to be, for example, you may turn around and say, I'm looking forward to, to live full-time within my new project. Oh, what is that? Right. So again, I'm just saying it. I'm just thinking out loud here. Maybe for you, it might be something different. Just think about it. You may even consult with ChatGPT and say, what would you do in this case? What would you say in that case? In some cases, that's kind of dull. That's kind of, oh yeah. Or maybe that could be a starting point for you to evolve to think of something else.
I love the one that Joel did, Chris, where, you could see him in his t-shirt. And then you guys saw, if anybody watched the video, he's got his pajamas on the bottom. So he shows his pajamas. Yeah, I got a pajama business. Like I get to work in my pajama all day long.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And in fact, sorry, Tommy, in fact, you're right on something. And I don't want to forget this. If you go back to all his videos, you can have some really good examples that you can apply for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the whole point. And the other thing is again, the duplication is all about duplicating. What's the duplication process? We covered that. Again, when you share the opportunity, you want to share it professionally. You can have a 15-second version. You can have a 15-minute version. You can have a half-hour version, depending. Watch the presentations that are being conducted, extract the information that you find relevant and interested, and then cover it into your own words. And the last point is positioning yourself as a leader, even if you're just getting started. What is a leader? A leader tends to point people in the right direction. These are the calls, the trainings, the events. So whenever, let's say there's 3 people in your business that you're sponsored. I'm not talking about the spillover, but the people you brought into your business. Are you telling them what's going on? Are they aware that the events, or they're just signed up and you kind of forgot all about them and moving on to the next person you got to sign up? That's the difference between really evolving a team that creates a solid residual income and just making the sale. A lot of people, all they do is make the sale. And that's the reason why they never get into that retirement income, because they don't cultivate that new person to be inspired by the potential, because they don't really know the potential. So as a leader, you just want to make sure that the people you bring in have a sense of direction and they see the future. That's what leaders do. You don't need to be experienced for that. And maybe some of you have great skills there that you just don't think may be applicable here. I assure you that it is. So we'll end on this note. Tammy, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'm just going to throw a couple of things in here so you guys can just copy and paste, just different angles, different ideas, things that you can say.
You remember, Tammy, that when you paste text in there, it doesn't format, right? So just keep that in mind, folks.
They can just copy it and they can format it themselves. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we could go all day talking about this stuff because we absolutely love what we do. And you can tell, right? You can tell that we get really, really excited about this. And that's the energy that you have to have. You know, when you're connecting with people, you always have to have your energy a notch higher, not too much higher. You got to learn to read body language. And when they're talking, you got to be one notch higher than them, because if you're one notch higher than them, you can bring them up to that level. But if you're too high, people are like, whoa, it's too much. It's overwhelming. So you got to learn. And the best way to learn how to do all of this stuff, Chris and I teach a course on emotional intelligence, learning how to read people, learning how to interact with people. All of this all came for us when we started practicing, when we were out there doing the deed, right? Connecting with people, creating curiosity, asking questions, open-ended questions, so you can have a real conversation with them that can lead to, maybe this is something that would be of interest to you. And then you would send them the link. And then you would say, hey, once you have a look at the link, I'd love to follow up so we can obviously connect, but I know you're probably going to have some questions. So, you can be there for them and guide them, because people, Joe, you were dead on about those three things.
Tammy, I want to cover that because it's just exactly, you're right on the topic.
One more thing, Chris, people want to know that you're going to be there for them. That's another thing that they're thinking of when they're sitting in front of you or when you're texting back and forth, because often people come into our profession and nobody's there for them.
See, Simon Sinek is probably the one that inspired me understanding your why. And that's why Joe put that comment here, is when they ask what you do, find out why they would do this. Okay. So in other words, he's so dead on. And there's a particular video here. I don't know if I could find it quickly here, but know your why. I bet you if you look for it, you will find it. Guarantee. Maybe I can do here.
Start with why.
Or start with why. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I have the video.
With why. Start with why. I'm the worst typer in the world. Okay. Here we go. This one over here. Okay. That is a brilliant video. And this is where he uses Apple as an example of how their whole philosophy is all about. Okay. So this here is the kind of thing. And what we're trying to give you here today is the proper mindset to succeed in this. There's something else I'd like you to be also aware of, is the VIP boss tree, which you can access from your back office. When you click on this VIP coaching over here, this is where it's going to take you. Okay. And for example, here, Tammy was referencing to some courses here that are included in there. Okay. And I'm telling you, folks, these courses, especially the emotional intelligence, mastery and network marketing, I'm telling you, that is brilliant. training, I must say myself.
That's
We
our life
worked
growth, right?
4 months on this one.
Yeah.
This here are the foundational basics of how to build a business. All the steps from prospecting and inviting and presenting and third-party credibility. This is the reason we've made our millions in our business. This is the reason why we've evolved in a way that, see, there's 20 lessons here, in a way that have really helped us understanding how to deal with people. Joel talks about the email marketing over here. And here we talk about the blueprints, the reason why people are the way they are and why they do the things they do. This is what's part of it over here. But over and above that, we also have some sessions that we do to help you with, for example, in this case, Tammy last week did to set up your memory place email system. Now this week, this particular Monday, she's going to be talking about creating the GBO broadcast emails in templates, right? So we specify things.
To simplify creating emails.
Attributes of leadership, how to build a solid foundation. So there's some information here that could be very, very helpful for you. So all of that is part of the GotBackup ecosystem. You have everything you need.
$10 a month for coaching. It's so minimal. And a portion of that goes into the compensation plan, just so you guys know.
Yes.
50%, right? Goes into the compensation.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, if anyone in your team gets this, you get 25%, not 50, you get 25% that's adding on to your commission, just so you know, anybody in your team that used the VIP program to help grow. So listen, folks, we'll end this call on this note. We hope that you got some good nuggets from what we shared here today. Fundamentals are very important. And we've shared with you, I think, which I believe are the fundamental aspect, the basic elements that you need to have some success into your business. It's not just about sponsoring someone in, it's to keep someone in and inspire that person to see the potential by being part of this venture. So we'll end on this note, folks. Again, we'll be there on Wednesday for our presentations. We do our presentation every Friday. And keep in mind that many leaders have their own presentations. I know there's Spanish presentation by Eduardo. And there's a presentation within the African community that's held by Dr. KOA and Yonam.
Dr. Dorothy, several
of them. Exactly. And there's others.
Mm-hmm.
So take advantage of everything that's available here to you folks and just get involved. Don't just sit on the sideline and wait for things to happen. Just take a leap forward and move forward. And the information that we shared here today, I think, can really help you move forward. So have yourself a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Have a great weekend.